HR issues can kill you. One complaint against your company can turn your world upside down. And you spend way too much time dealing with HR when you should be spending your time on making a profit. You should talk to Bambi. With Bambi, get access to your own dedicated US-based HR manager starting at just $99 per month. They get to know you and your business while providing HR expertise and the personal touch you need and want. They're available by phone, email, and real-time chat, so onboarding and terminations run smoothly. Team members reach peak performance, and your business stays compliant with changing HR regulations. And with Bambi's HR Autopilot, you'll automate important HR practices like setting policies, training, and feedback. HR managers can easily cost $80,000 a year, but Bambi starts at $99 per month. Schedule your free conversation today to see how much Bambi can take off your plate. Go to Bambi.com right now and type in Accelerate under podcast when you sign up. It'll really help the show. Spelled BAM, BEE.com. Bambi.com. Type in Accelerate. Welcome to Accelerate Your Business Growth, where we're exploring all sorts of business topics. Experts from around the world join me, your host, Diane Helbig, for a conversation where they share their expertise with all of you. Take what you need when you need it. Featured on Inc.com, Forbes, and MSNBC's Your Business, this podcast is recognized as one of the best podcasts for small business, sales, leadership, social media, and more. When it comes to business, Accelerate Your Business Growth has got it covered. And now on with the show. I am fortunate today to actually have two guests. First one is Shelly Lefkoe. She's the co-founder and CEO of the Lefkoe Institute. As a keynote speaker and workshop leader, Shelly has helped thousands of entrepreneurs rid themselves of limiting beliefs. Her programs have reached hundreds of thousands of people worldwide. And we have Vaughn Yepremian, founder of Yepremian Law Firm. He has helped entrepreneurs launch and scale their ventures. He holds a Doctor of Jurisprudence degree from the University of Southern California and a postgraduate graduate diploma from Cambridge Judge Business School. Thanks so much for joining me today.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. I'm thrilled to have you here. We're going to be talking about the entrepreneurial mindset. And so I want to jump right in and ask you, how does mindset impact an entrepreneur's journey?
Pretty much every decision that's made, it's made through a filter that you have, your beliefs, your thoughts, your view of the world. And so especially as an entrepreneur, you're constantly challenged and face various obstacles. And how do you deal with those? How do you deal with conflict? How do you deal with challenges? A lot of it is your mindset. A lot of it is your beliefs. And so that affects the business. That affects how the business operates.
Got it. All right. Well, that makes a lot of sense to me. I oftentimes feel like we bring ourselves and all of our baggage to our business. And so that's what you're talking about, that those are the things that then inform how we deal with whatever shows up.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. So let's talk about shifting.
I want to add one thing to that, because Vaughn, his story, is he came from the Soviet Union. And he said when he came here, he was struggling. I mean, you can tell the story, but that how your mindset was changed.
Right. And, I basically grew up in a country where entrepreneurship was illegal. Everything was owned by the government, run by the government, and people were programmed not to question authority, not to think outside the box, not to be innovative or entrepreneurial. Basically, all the entrepreneurs, whoever were trying to start a business, that was the black market, and they would end up in jail. Whoa. And so having that programmed in pretty much all the whole population, and moving to US, where, is an entrepreneurial country and build on entrepreneurs' backs and small businesses, I had to do some reprogramming. And because I was noticing that a lot of that baggage, as you mentioned, that I brought with me without even knowing unconsciously, that was just running my kind of the software that runs the computer. And so I had to uninstall it and upgrade it with a better software that works better in this country.
Right.
Yeah. And he said that his business flourished when he started actually changing his mindset and eliminating the beliefs that led him to that.
What's interesting is my law firm has been around for 25 years, and it's always done well. But going back about 6-7 years ago, when I start really working on myself and working on the beliefs and everything else, nothing else really in the business changed except me. But that change in me really reflected in the business's bottom line, the business's growth. We were able to get back to back 4 or 5 years on Inc. 5000 fastest growing companies, on the several publications, Entrepreneur magazine and everything else, where they've basically fastest growing companies in all of America. And again, nothing changed except me and my mindset and my, just upgrading what's running me.
Right. The script that's in your head. Right. So what are some common mindset traps that entrepreneurs fall into? So, I mean, I totally get what you were going through, because it makes a lot of sense that they're polar opposites as far as community structure and that sort of thing. But what are some other of the ones you see most often?
Yeah. So I'll tell you the most common beliefs. So by a belief, I mean a statement about reality that we hold as the truth. And we have beliefs about everything, many of which are unconscious. We don't even know we have these beliefs, but they totally determine our behavior, our emotions, and ultimately our reality. So if you believe that having a job is safe and secure, and that being an entrepreneur is dangerous, which people have, that belief is going to stop you. It's going to change your reality in that you won't start your business. If you have beliefs, so the most common beliefs that people have are, I'm not good enough. Okay. And if you have the belief, I'm not good enough, mistakes and failures are bad. Even if you read every business book that tells you the opposite, it doesn't matter. Your beliefs will always win out. Mistakes and failures are bad. If I make a mistake or fail, I'll be rejected. And two of what we call survival strategy beliefs, which drive our behavior. So if you have a belief, I'm not good enough or I'm not important, that's like I have a fist in front of my face, right? That's a belief. And then nobody wants to live with that. We form survival strategy beliefs, which hold the beach ball or the belief underwater. And those beliefs are what makes me good enough or achieving things, in which case you become a workaholic because you're only good enough and you're only important when you're achieving. So you have to keep doing it and doing it and doing it, like a heroin addiction, because it never works. And the other one is, what makes me good enough is having people think well of me, which will stop you from being innovative. It'll stop you from taking risks and chances and pulling the trigger on that product that you just, are ready to put online. You won't push the button because what if people, don't like it? What if people think it's not good enough? I'm not going to. So all those beliefs come up and impact your behavior as an entrepreneur and in life, in your relationships.
Right. Eek. So, well, those feel pretty ingrained and pretty deep. So how do we shift that?
Yeah. So I'll take that question. So for the past 30 some odd years, I've been working with people to help them do that. And when people say to me, beliefs are ingrained, they feel ingrained, but beliefs live in our minds. Okay. So we come into this world and we don't know if we're good enough or not good enough. We don't know if we're important or not important. And when we show up in this little, microcosm called our families. And whatever your family looks like, it doesn't matter if you had single parents or gay parents or straight parents, it's irrelevant. What you do, what every little child asks all day long is why? Why is my dad looking at his iPhone every time I talk to him? Well, I guess I'm not important, or what I have to say is not important. Why can't I live up to my parents' expectations? Why are they always criticizing me? Well, I guess I'm not good enough. And why are my parents struggling? They can't pay the bills and they're always complaining. Well, I guess money is scarce and hard to get. I guess life is hard because kids are asking why, right? Why is the sky blue? Why can't I have a play date? Why can't I have dessert? Kids ask why all day long.
Right.
And so these beliefs get formed. And the reason they stay with us throughout our entire lives and throughout personal growth work and 10 years of therapy are beliefs. We learn how to cope with our issues and we get really good at coping.
Yeah.
But the beliefs don't go away because we think we saw them in the world. It's as if the belief was seeable. So if I say to somebody, did you ever see money is scarce and hard to get? They said, yeah, every day of my life. What they actually saw was their parents struggling. Money is scarce and hard to get was in their mind. They made that up. So in our work, we help people get rid of the beliefs. So, and I mean eliminate them so that their lives can be free. And I always talk about Vaughn, and I'm so proud to have written this book with him because he embodies what I consider, the conscious entrepreneur, in that I talk about watering the plants. So every area of, if you had a lot of plants in your house, you would never just water one, right? Because the others would die. So you want to water your health and your relationship with your children and your relationships with your significant others, if you have one. And you want to water your plant called leisure, and you want to water the health plant. And so, Vaughn has really kind of mastered this, and I'll let him talk about that more. But that's what happens when you get rid of beliefs. You have an intentional life instead of a reactive life.
Yeah, that is huge. And Vaughn, I do want to hear about that. I think it's important. I think there's people listening going, I get it intellectually. I don't get how you cross that bridge.
How, as far as the process of how getting rid of the belief, or how that affects your life?
Getting rid of the belief.
Well, the book actually really walks the reader through the steps of how to identify these patterns and identify the beliefs that basically run us. And we all have it. And it's, it's something that, first thing, I think that the book hopefully will make people think and start looking at themselves as well. Because a lot of, I've attended business seminars, read a lot of business books, and gone to business school. They teach a lot about the business itself, how to write a business plan, how to do team building, branding, scaling, and everything else. Very little attention on the actual entrepreneur, of having a self-awareness of who you are, what your limitations are, what are your skills, what are you good at, what are you bad at, and having that awareness. And so hopefully this book also brings awareness of looking at some of these beliefs that in the background running, like a running software. And so it helps identify, and then it goes through a specific process of how to get rid of it. And Shelly, if you wanna just in few steps discuss that.
there's a process, but I want to first make a distinction. So the difference between a pattern and a belief. So I hear everybody's talking about beliefs now. When I started 30 years ago, nobody knew what a belief was. Today, everybody's talking because people understand that you can't make change without changing your beliefs, right? If you believe life is hard, you're not going to, or if you believe I'll never get what I want, you're not going to ask for it. You're not going to go for it in life. If you believe I'm inadequate, that belief is going to stop you dead in your tracks. And as Vaughn said, we all have these beliefs. So a pattern is observable. Beliefs are not. So you can see someone procrastinate. I can see you have fear of public speaking. You get up there and you're anxious. I could see you waking up every morning with anxiety. I can see you being afraid to pull the trigger, on your business or on your product or upgrade your product or do the 2.0 or wherever it is that you're stuck as an entrepreneur. I can see that. I can see you working all the time and not having a relationship, right? I can see you not being home with your kids, or I can see you being home with your kids all the time and not fulfilling your dreams. So patterns are observable.
Okay.
Beliefs underlie or cause, if you will, the patterns, right?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
So what we talk about in the book is we give you all the patterns and we tell you what beliefs are underlying these patterns. So for procrastination, for instance, it's no matter what I do, it'll never be good enough. Or mistakes and failures are bad. Well, the ones that I said, the most common beliefs. Fear of public speaking is the only pattern that has the exact same beliefs for every person. So fear of public speaking is I'm not good enough. I'm not important. Mistakes and failures are bad. If I make a mistake or fail, I'll be rejected. I'm not capable. And you may think you have evidence to prove this is not true. Evidence doesn't get rid of beliefs. You can go to Harvard, have a PhD, and my client said, I conned my way through Harvard. The evidence didn't get rid of the belief. And then, so we tell you all the patterns, and then we tell you what beliefs, and fear of public speaking, sorry, what makes me good enough is having other people think well of me. And then we do a process where you get rid of fears. So fear of criticism and judgment, fear of not living up to an expectation, and fear of rejection. Those are the three fears that run people's lives. And how you get rid of a belief is, we don't have time in this podcast for us to walk you through the process, but the process is a step-by-step, what happened, what do you want to change? I want to stop procrastinating. What do you believe? I'm not good enough. Where did that belief come from? When I was a child, I was criticized, and that's what I concluded. And we look at other interpretations. Maybe you weren't good enough as a kid. Maybe your parents thought you weren't good enough. Maybe you were good enough and they didn't understand the learning process. Maybe they had unrealistic expectations. And so we break up the belief, and then we do the step where I have people see, doesn't it seem like you saw that belief in the world? And everybody says, I did see it. And anything you could see has a color, shape, and location. You can't see a belief.
I love this patterns and beliefs. That makes so much sense to me, and that the patterns are rooted in whatever those beliefs are. I guess my question is, and maybe we just grab like the first two or one, whatever, but what steps can entrepreneurs take to identify their own limiting beliefs? Because I was listening to you and I was thinking, okay, so you ask somebody, okay, what's that belief? I think a lot of people, so correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like a lot of people don't know what's underlying that
So
procrastination.
I think that's where you kind of look at what's observable, what are the patterns.
Okay.
So let's say an entrepreneur is complaining that they cannot scale their business, it's just not growing. And you ask, do you delegate? Do you have people that you assign and trust? And no, I don't. Why don't you? Because you can't trust anyone, or no one's going to do it as good as I am going to do it, and everything else. So they could look at the challenge they're having, or an outcome that they want to achieve that they're not achieving, and then kind of just walk that back into it.
Yeah, so that's one way. Another way would be to ask yourself, what might somebody believe that has this pattern? Or what would I have to believe to not be doing this? So what do I believe that has me not pulling? What would I have to believe in order to pull the trigger? Well, I'd have to believe I'm good enough, or I'd have to believe I'm smart. And then you can work your way back into your belief that way. We actually
I didn't get that. Could you?
We actually could give your listeners something very valuable, which we talk about in the book called The Occurring. So our beliefs determine the meaning that we give events. Okay. So if you believe I'm not important and somebody walks past you and doesn't say hello, you go, oh, they don't think I'm important, right? If a dog comes in the room and you have the belief dogs are dangerous, you're going to give it the meaning the dog's going to bite me, and then you're going to feel fear. So our emotions come from the meaning we give events. Okay.
Yep.
So one piece of this is eliminating beliefs, right? And we want to do that because if you eliminate beliefs, feelings won't come up and you'll just be free. And that's what this book really is about. That's what our work is about, right? Being free. To express yourself, to go for it in life, to not worry about when I got rid of the belief, what makes me good enough is having other people think well of me, my whole life changed.
Yeah.
Not everybody's going to love me. I'm not everybody's cup of tea. I'm going to serve. That's what I'm here to do. Right. And I hope you get something valuable out of being with me.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah.
So,
and of course, getting rid of limiting beliefs doesn't mean your business is going to automatically and necessarily succeed and grow, but you no longer are defined by your beliefs and your business is not affected by them. Then you have the freedom of making, hopefully, a good business decisions, and you're unchained and you're free to do what's best for the business rather than being run by what's running you.
And you'll take courses on that which you don't know and be able to utilize what you learn in the courses, because how many of you listening have taken courses and learned stuff and went, oh my God, that was such a great course. I learned so much. And 3 days later, the notes are in the drawer and you've changed nothing.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's because your beliefs are in the way.
Yeah. Yeah. That's interesting. I mean, that happens so frequently.
Yeah. So here's something that we can give you that you can utilize. Okay.
Yeah.
So meaning is in your mind. Somebody walks by and doesn't say hello to you. You think, oh, they don't like me. Or somebody doesn't buy your product and you go, oh God, my product sucks. And, we give meaning all day long, right?
Yeah.
To everything that happens. If meaning is in your mind, it's not in the events. So when something happens, if you just take a minute and say, and anytime you get upset, you have any kind of negative emotion, you just stop and ask, what happened? My partner didn't do what I asked him to do. What meaning did I give that? They don't respect me. What else could it mean? They're busy. But what does it really mean? It doesn't mean, we don't know anything for sure because it happened.
Right.
Thing is in your mind. And if you could even do that, the minute you get upset, ask yourself what meaning you gave the event and get the meanings in your mind. It's not in the event.
Right.
And teach you how to do that in the book. And that is life changing. When my husband died, I used it every day to get out of bed.
Yeah, definitely life changing. Yeah.
What happened? He died. What meaning did I give it? I'm going to starve to death. As you'll read in the book, I didn't know the difference between a P&L and a balance sheet when he died. I thought I was going to starve to death.
Yeah.
And I said, well, it could mean I'm going to starve to death, but it also could mean I'm going to step up and figure it out, which I did.
You did.
And 8 years later, we're doing okay.
Yeah. Right. That's a great example too. You two both have great examples. So I love this information, and I think it is obvious that the book can have great value for people. So will you tell the listeners about the book, where they can get it, all that great stuff, please?
It's on Amazon. It's available as a paperback, as ebook, and a hardcover.
Okay.
Also Barnes & Noble online and a number of other online retailers. It's called Hitting the Wall. And Amazon's probably the easiest way. And we could send you a link once we're done and you could share it.
Okay.
One of the things that the book is designed to do is it's an interactive book. It's not, you're going to sit back and read it and your life's going to change.
Yeah.
It's interactive. It's teaching you how to get rid of the beliefs and the blocks that keep you from having the life you dream of. Because being an entrepreneur is one part of your life. Right. And as I said, Vaughn is, he's very modest, but so I sometimes have to talk about him. But when I once tried to reach him on the weekend and I couldn't reach him, and I said, "Where were you all weekend?" And he said, "Well, I turned my phone off and I had a device-free weekend with my daughter."
Nice.
And, he treats his employees. They're very diverse from all different countries. And, he treats them with dignity and respect and helps them by, making personal growth available to them. He's a serial entrepreneur. And as I said, the best father and has a full life. Like you look at every aspect of his life and it's singing, it's humming. And there are places where, he's not yet and wants to be. So it's not like he's perfect and I'm not, it's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is both of us are in life as an inquiry. It's like, we're growing. We're just these trees that are just growing and growing. And that's what life's about. And that's what this book is about. One of my old teachers used to say, you can either have what you want in life or all the reasons why you don't. Most people have all the reasons why they don't.
Absolutely. Right.
This book is about having it.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of real life examples in the book from both Shelly's 30 years of doing the work and me for the last 25 years working and representing entrepreneurs. And there's really no fluff. It's just, really usable information with examples. We really made an effort to make it a short and easy read book that respecting entrepreneurs' time and hopefully it's an easy weekend read, but it is interactive and you will need to, as you're reading, look at yourself and your business and see what resonates with you. What are the things that are kind of making you think like, maybe this is something that I should look into.
Yeah. Yeah. It sounds
like.
You
had such a great insight. And I had not ever realized this till this moment. Lawyers have a pretty bad rap. I mean, I read a whole book of jokes about lawyers, and I look at the way Vaughn, the way you represent your clients, which most lawyers are just their lawyers, but you get involved with them and help them with their businesses, which is, again, beliefs. It's
Right.
like, I don't want to just represent you and just, do that. I want to
Right.
help you have a great business and have a great life. And that's
Yeah.
moving, that's inspiring. That's what's possible.
So you can have empowering beliefs instead of limiting beliefs. Of, for example, I have one that my client's success means my success. So for my business to grow, my clients' businesses need to grow. So if I focus on rather my business or my law firm's growth, I focus on their growth, my growth will come automatically.
Right.
And so as you get rid of some of the beliefs that hold you back, I think adopting or focusing on the ones that really drive your business and your life forward is it. And book talks about that as well. The last chapter about, as you gain this freedom and power of, making better choices. What are those choices, and what are your intentions, and how do you want to move forward?
Yeah, it's one of the things I hear loud and clear about this that I value so much, and that is about being intentional. Right? That makes the difference, because it's work. You got to do it. But when you're intentional, you're not just letting life happen to you and letting the things happen to you.
Right.
You
Yes.
are involved in
Exactly.
progress.
Yes. And I love that, because two things. First of all, when you get to the end of your life, you don't want to turn around and go, you want to turn around and go, that was awesome, right?
Let's do it again.
And most of us, I use the example of dating. You meet somebody, you go out, you have a good time. You go out again, you have a good time. You go out a third time, you have sex. Sex is great. Next thing you know, you're in a relationship. But you never stopped and looked at being intentional about what kind of person do I want to be in a relationship with?
Right.
What are my values? I want somebody who's open to personal growth. I want somebody who's on an adventure, who's alive, who's vibrant and juicy. And, that's important to me.
Yeah.
Just because I had a good time on a date and we had great sex doesn't mean I should be in a relationship with that person.
Right.
And it's the same thing with entrepreneurship. Sometimes
right.
you start a business and, next
looking
thing
at
you
your
know,
partners and looking at what industry you choose. And some people just kind of fall into certain things or partners just because they happen to be next to somebody or have a conversation. Next thing you know, their whole business is tied up with them, rather than, like, as you said, being intentional and really looking at, are our values aligned? Are our visions aligned? Do we work the same? Have the same work style and ethics? Because a lot of problems I see between partners is because they've kind of partnered up with the wrong person.
Yeah. And we were intentional and got to know each other and looked at all of this stuff before we wrote this book. This book took us a long time. And in all the years it took us to write this book, there was not a moment that we had of anything. I mean, we were such a great partnership and such a great fit. It was a joy to do it.
Right.
Because it was done intentionally.
Right.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Good.
I mean, everything you're saying, it's exactly right. And unfortunately, as you were talking about the partnering thing, I had a memory of people will ask me, what is like your biggest regret, or what's like the biggest mistake you made in business? And I will say, I partnered with someone before I really knew him in my business, and we did not work the same way. And it was awful. And so I learned from that to just slow it down, right? Be more intentional about, okay, this is exciting, and now I need to take a giant step back and slow the boat. So,
and at the same time, you want to be mindful not to form a belief that all partners are bad and partnerships don't work. And then you don't do that, right? And then you just say that I just made a bad choice here.
Yes.
I didn't put in the time and intention to get to know them.
Right.
Next time I will do better.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, absolutely. Oh my gosh. Well, this has been such a pleasure for me. Thank you both so much for spending this time. And you've told us where to get the book and the title of it, but how do people find the two of you if they want to do that?
We have, go ahead.
Website is VY Law Firm, V as in Victor, Y as in Yankee, lawfirm.com. And my email is Vaughn, VAHAN, at VYLawFirm.com.
Yeah, mine is, if you go to eliminatebeliefs.com, you can actually eliminate a belief for free. And if you want me, it's Lefkoe, L-E-F as in Frank, K-O-E, institute.com.
Excellent. I will make sure that is all in the show notes.
Yeah, we also have a website called hitting the wall .net. Thank you. hittingthewall.net.
Okay.
And there you can find some bonuses to buy for buying the book.
Excellent. Okay.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, as I said, thank you both. This was really delightful. And listeners, thank you. You are who we're doing this for. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Accelerate Your Business Growth, a production of Evergreen Podcasts. Discover more episodes of this podcast and explore others at evergreenpodcast.com. As always, continue to prosper and be curious. And if you're looking to get your sales strategy headed in the right direction, pick up a copy of Succeed Without Selling on Amazon or wherever books are sold. Until we meet again on another episode of Accelerate Your Business Growth, goodbye and good day.
Great careers are forged out of great relationships. Your success, whatever your field, relies and thrives on the support and insights of others. I'm Andy Lapata, an author and speaker on the power of professional relationships. In the Connected Leadership podcast, I have the privilege of interviewing people from around the world to understand the relationships that have made a difference on their journey and how their insights can help you. From Nobel Prize winners to Olympians, from NASA astronauts to peace campaigners, my guests have shared some captivating moments from their lives and careers. Combined with experts from leading universities, cutting-edge authors and giants of business, the Connected Leadership podcast aims to inspire, educate and entertain.